I'm going to look at today is this Perry 28mm French Elite Company's sprue, which I bought from eBay. This is just the infantry sprue, not the command figures. What I was going to do is to assemble maybe one or two of the figures. I'll show you that, see how I do that, and see how you get on. We'll just look at this sprue first of all. It has, I think it was about £3, £3. I bought it off, as I say, eBay. It's got, it just have 4 bodies. I've assembled one of the figures already. I'll show you that in a second. It's got here the bear skins, uncovered shackles with and without cords. There's an arm, and here, there. Here's some more shackles here. Another body. I think that's a shooting, or it's standing up fairly straight anyway. Bear skin, and there was another bear skin, another body, same as that one was here. So that's what I'm going to show you in a second. Then here are the backpacks and a couple of covered shackles with a smaller plume. And then we've got the muskets. That one's got a hand on it. This one's got more of an arm. There's an arm on its own, etc. You can see these on the back, the other side of these. You can see that they're all, these are numbered up, so that's number 11. Number 11, 13, 12, 14, etc. The thing is, I don't have any instructions for these, as I just bought this one sprue. So I don't know which arm goes with which. Now, the quick word about quality of these before I put them on the figure. For example, here on the backpacks, they look very good. The muskets, not rifles, muskets, got some great details. The flintlock and everything is accurately done. The beading on the collars and the epaulettes, cords on the shackle cover, very nice. And of course, the posing on Perry figures tends to be very good. So, but it's a bit hard to tell when they're in bits like this, but we'll see that later. Okay, so that's that. Now, here's one of the figures that I'd already assembled. Cut them off the sprue and assembled. You get some freedom as to how you assemble these figures, in the sense that you're gluing them together and they're not absolutely stuck in one place. But you also get a few, hopefully you can see that, a few gaps in there and there. We're going to be treating that in a minute. But generally speaking, as with all Perry figures usually, it's very good, very nice. And I think that guy looks pretty cool, just as he stands. Lots of detail left for painting. Okay, so let's get to assembling one of these little fellas. Using these Tamiya side cutters. I'm going to do this guy with this pose, as it's the same as the one I've already done, so I'll be able to show you what it is I'm doing and be reasonably certain about the way of doing it. So this is body and his head. Now we have to look for a suitable musket. That one. and this was the arm. Now the backpack I put on this guy here, you'll see it has like a pair of boots or something strapped to it. These other backpacks here, these three, they don't have that. So these are just plain. So that's going to be one difference at least between these two figures. Okay. Well, that's the whole assembly part of it. So we've got his body with his legs, head, 2 arms, and a backpack. Let's start with the backpack. Just clean off that connection point. There's a little by the way, I should say I do prefer using these scalpels to the craft knife because these are just very much sharper. Of course they go blunt quicker as well, but they still stay very sharp for a reasonable length of time. And I'll show you in just a moment. I've got plenty of spare blades. I think that'll be okay for that. I can paint on some details. Now the first figure I did had some flash between the turnbacks, that little gap, and along there, but this one I can't see that. These are the blades you can get in a pack of 100, I think. Mm, 100 non-sterile. Yeah, where's the English one? Metal 4 packs of 5 blades, individually wrapped, resistant paper. Anyway, that's what I use, and I've also got this little box for it's a Swan mortar, same, made by the same people. Universal scalpel blade remover. Okay, the scalpel in there and press it if you want to remove it. I won't do that just now. Okay, we've done his backpack. Let's just tidy up his body. We're looking here for mold lines and flash. Or if there's any other imperfection, something that doesn't look right. And here also, of course, if you wanted to, this could be potentially a place where you'd carve these to convert them to a different pose or whatever. As I only have 4 figures, and they're going to be, 2 of them are going to be shooting. I don't think it's worthwhile converting any of these, or maybe I'll do that another time. Okay, this is his head. But these figures are the usual very high peri quality. The only thing I have any kind of issue with, let's see if I can zoom in a bit. Is that the faces seem a bit soft. Okay. The detail on them, that is. There's kind of a mold line there. Rather than cut it off or anything, because it's on this bear skin and it runs the same direction as the fur, I'll just cut some more lines into it, and it'll be hidden amongst all those lines. Right, I've done that. Here's the arm. This arm doesn't have a hand, that's how we know it's the right arm to go with the shooting figure. Right, doesn't need any more cleanup than that. And here's the rifle holding the musket. Just a bit of extra plastic there. I think it's meant to sort of hide the joint. That we're not going to worry about that. There is the joint connection mark. Okay. There's a little mold seam here, but as it sort of runs down the sleeve of his jacket, we could just leave it there. Make it look like it's an actual seam in the material of his jacket. It's only where mold lines run over. Let's do a close up of that. You can probably see it there. It's only where mold lines run over several different surfaces, like if you got a line that goes down his trousers and then onto his boots or shoes, then when it looks obviously that it's the same line, it's not meant to be there, you get a bit of a problem. Okay, that's that done. Let's zoom back to normal. Next step, I'm going to use this Tamiya extra thin cement, and this time I'm going to start off with his arms. On the previous figure I started off with I could have just backpack on because it was just there, it was very easy to do, so I did it first, and I don't think it really makes much difference. This Tamiya glue is superb. It binds very quickly, and we can paint over the little scratches we made. Now you can see, let's zoom in a bit. Let's see, make sure it's as focused as it can be. You can see quite a gap there. Well, we'll be dealing with that later, and any other gaps like that. Okay, that's one arm. Let's do the other arm. Should really dry fit these, but there's still a little bit of give in the glue when you first put it on. So you can move it around. just, oops, going off camera a bit. See that? What I am going to do as well, just zoom in so you can see the fitted part. It's okay, but we can do better than that. You can see in this figure I've tilted his head to one side to make it look like he's aiming down the barrel. I'm going to do the same with this guy, but I'm going to cut just a small, oops, make sure I'm on camera. I'm going to cut a small notch in his collar so that his chin can easily fit in there. Okay, that doesn't feel too secure, so let's put another bit of cement in there. Again, we can fill in any gaps which there are, which you can see. You can see around his neck there. Let's twist them all the way around. See if I can get a better. Alright. Okay, anyway, there he is. Hopefully you can see that okay. Okay, now I'm going to tempt fate by saying we move on to the easiest part of this assembly, which is putting his backpack on. Well, that really does make him into a sturdy looking little figure. I can run some extra cement. Where we tidied up the sides of his blanket roll. Or his great coat roll. Okay, that's that one. And there's the previous one I did. They're not identical, as I was saying. You can see the back is different, but they're pretty similar. Okay, I'll put the others together and I'll show you that. Okay, just coming up to the end of number 3 figure. That's so far. Running forward. No, let's cap him off with a head. Put his head forward. So you can see he's kind of leaning forward. I forgot his backpack, didn't I? Got to do that. Okay, anyway, I think that's the basic animation done. Okay, this guy's a bit different. He's got this cartridge box, I think it is, molded onto that leg, and obviously there's also a cartridge box on the backpack. Well, you can't have two, and anyway they wouldn't fit, so I'm gonna have to cut this one off. Could cut that one off as well, but okay, so I'm gonna do that. I wasn't expecting that, I didn't notice it. Okay. Here's the guard, the grenadier. Here's his backpack. If I had to, oops, make sure it's in the camera. If I had to cut off the locating peg that was there, and I've tidied it up. You can see where I've removed the cartridge box. So that's going to sit there. So let's get some glue on there. That's plenty. Again, we're not going to worry too much about the any gaps or anything like that, just for now, because oops, we're going to address that later. Okay, let's just put another drop of glue. Alright, that's number 3 finished. Okay, well, I'm just coming up to the last one, and I was just about to do his backpack, and of course when I look at his backpack, let's zoom in a bit. When I look at it, I notice that the cartridge pouch is missing off it, and there is no locating pin in the back or here. So what I've done, this is obviously the pack for what I was calling figure number 3, which is this fella. So I've done all that chopping about for nothing, because there already was a pack that was pre-prepared in that way. Well, let's see if we can get this back together in some sort of reasonable way. I said I wasn't going to do any conversion, well, it's kind of forced on me now. So let's see, let's just go straight ahead and glue this pack on. That's what it looks like. There's not a huge contact area, so what I'll do, I'll just run a bit more glue, and then where I've cleaned up the sides, right, let's move right on to the cartridge pack. Don't go out of focus on me, please, camera. Here we go. Oops. Everything went a bit sideways there. Maybe actually let's remove that again. I think I'll just clean this up a bit more. Okay, hopefully you can see this is that cartridge pouch again. Super close up. I've tidied it up a bit. Let's see if it'll go into place on here now. Well, it's going to add a bit of variety to our figures, albeit accidentally. And I see his pack, because we don't have that locating pen to hold it in place. And it's tending to wobble around a bit. Maybe because I also put some extra glue on it before. Okay, I think he's done. Hopefully you can see what he looks like. I'll just quickly show you everybody again. So that's number 4. I'll call him that for now. He's not going to stand up on his own. That's number 3, who had the extra surgery. Unnecessary as it turned out. But he looks okay. Looks just fine. And then I have these 2 fine grenadiers shooting, firing. That's 1. And that's the other one. Okay, so the next step is to go and take a look at, for example, we can get it to zoom in that close. Yeah, you can see the little gap there. See my finger there between his arm and the rest of his body, and there's a few other gaps. We'll try and get sorted out. So that's the next step. Okay, entering the final stretch now. I've fixed the figures to sort of temporary holding bases with Tamiya masking tape. So it's just doubled over to make it into a double-sided tape. Doesn't work perfectly in every case. Need some more on that one. But it does hold pretty well. It's pretty sticky stuff. There's the other final firing shooting figure. This is what this is the tape I'm using. Now what we're going to do now is to use this stuff, Mr. Dissolved Putty, together with, you can thin it with this, which is extra thin, or any of the other Tamiya cements that are this similar chemical makeup to this one. We'll also thin it. Alternatively, you can use this stuff, which I'm going to do today because I've got a whole load more of it. Lastly, I use a little sort of homemade tool, which is a matchstick, sharpened. Just cut it, pare it down with a scalpel to make a little tool for dripping the stuff into the. Oops, let me see that. Dripping the stuff into the joints or any other gaps, like let's say there behind his neck. You can see that. Put a drip in there. That particular piece of masking tape is not sticking so well. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, hopefully you can see I've made a small quantity of this stuff. I've added a bit of thinner to it to make it run a bit better. Pick up one of these figures and just basically push this substance, which does smell evil. It is a pretty strong smelling stuff, but it really does do the job for gap filling. And smoothing out areas, because being a liquid plastic, so then they put a bit on there. It runs into all the gaps automatically. Hopefully you could see all that, what I was doing. This is the guy where I accidentally, well, I used the wrong backpack on, I think. Is it? Or was it this one? This one-legged one. This stuff is very strong, so it's as you can see, I've mixed it up in this old lid, and it's melting the whatever it was I had in there before, which was probably some paint or something like that. I think it might be acetone based, but I'm not saying that for sure because I'm not entirely certain. I'll just move this. Yeah, but there seems to be a lot of shadows. I haven't done any model making for quite a while. I don't remember all these shadows before. Maybe just my imagination. Okay. If it doesn't quite fill all the gaps on the first go, you see there's quite a big gap there. And I think it does shrink as well, this stuff, if I remember correctly. You can just, once it's dry, put another coat on. You could also use a paintbrush to do this if you have a really old paintbrush that you really don't care about. You can use this. If it does happen to go on a flat surface or some other place where you don't want it, it doesn't really matter too much because it won't do anything other than do a little sort of cover of that area. But for gaps, it's pretty good. And of course, with some skillful painting, you can further eliminate the issue of any gaps. Right, that one looks fine to my eye, as far as I can make out. Let's just do the last one quickly. I am trying to make sure that I get all this on camera, but I'm not promising that I will. mixture is beginning to solidify a bit. It really does smell not good. So okay, as far as I can see, well, that's most of the gaps covered. Of course, when I watch this back in 4K, I'll spot 50 more gaps that I wasn't able to see with the naked eye when I put it on a big screen or something. But anyway, for a human eye, this is about as good as it gets. Okay, just last little bit now for these figures. As you can see, they were assembled. Now they're I've stuck them onto some penny coins for extra basing, and I've undercoated them with just move this light over a bit. I've undercoated them with don't go out of focus. What's the matter with you? Okay, I've undercoated them with some Vallejo primer. I don't think there's much need to do any counter shading with these fellas. If I can tighten up the focus on that. I think it's having a little bit of trouble. Okay. There's this guy. And then there's the other point and shoot sort of guy. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use this stuff to put some texture on the bases. Okay, let's start with this. I've put some of the material out on the palette. I generally find this stuff is very good. There are various grades of this. This is the sand, I think it's called. It says, yeah, desert sand. They've also got a lot of rougher ones as well. But this gives you a nice, just uneven finish, sort of gritty, without being too overpowering. This guy could be fighting, theoretically, in, say, the Spanish Peninsula. In the Peninsular Wars, as I believe off the top of my head that these figures are designed to represent elite companies from 1807 to 1814, so in the period leading up to Napoleon's first great disastrous defeat, where he got sent off to, I think it was Corsica, and he came back later for the 100 Days, where he got defeated again, and this time he wasn't coming back. Obviously at this point, if you wanted to, you could stick bits of gravel, stone, etc., anything like that, onto the figure base. That's one. This stuff here, because it's acrylic, it's a bit like thick paint. and it does thin with water if you want to do that. Just dip the brush in some water, and hopefully you can see that okay. I forget that the camera's on, and then I move the figures away from the camera because I'm looking at them rather than at the camera. What we want to do is break up the shape of the plastic base that comes attached to the figure, so you can't really see it. This stainless steel sculpting tool here, which is okay for this job, but it's very sharp. There's some very sharp edges on it. So generally speaking, I wouldn't particularly recommend it, but it is what I have to hand, and it does work. So I'm using it. Okay. Hopefully that's reasonably in focus. You can see that. That's two. Should we try another one? There's the guy running along. Get some of this stuff under there. I think I might not have quite enough for this figure. I seem to remember this stuff is fairly cheap for the amount of coverage you get, but I bought it a long time ago. So, oops, some mud on his trousers there. A little bit of water, a little bit of water on the this carving tool, and we can spread everything out a bit more. Maybe you can see I'm sort of determined to finish this guy without putting any more paste on the brush, but I was to give up and do a bit more. And this stuff, because it dries very quickly, best to put the lid back on it fairly quick. You can make this stuff into any shape you want, pretty much. If you wanted to sculpt it in any particular way. Rough, smooth, symmetrical. I like it. easy to work with. Possibly I should have put this on before I primed it. Yes, I should have. Just might have been better for binding it together. I mean, it is basically thick paint, if you like, so it does stick pretty well to anything. But obviously I coat a primer over the top of it. We'll just add an extra bit of sealant, extra little bit of rigidity. You can see that okay. Right, that's the last little bit of him done. You can see the base, you can see that figure. Just see if I can point this light at him. Right, that's the end of this video. I'm going to go on now and leave these to dry till they've dried, and then start painting them. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you did like this video, and if enough people do that, then I'll make a video of me painting these as well. I'm aiming for a standard that's about the same as these, which are from the Perry website, which I printed off as a reference to try and work out where the arms and legs etc. go. Okay, thanks very much. See you next time. Bye.